numerous countries, to name a few: USA, Saudi Arabia, Thailand, and Maldives, to promote the research. Currently guiding three PhD students as well. So we are very much delighted to have you here as a chairperson, sir. Now I request Professor Sontake sir to felicitate Dr. Kars. Dear members, in this technical session, we will be having two lectures, invited lectures, one by Professor N.D. Singh and the other one is by Dr. Nitin Lamshekwa. Now I hand over the mic to the chairperson.
Hello. Good afternoon to all. We are about to start the first technical session of this conference. For this, we are having two distinguished speakers. The first speaker is Professor N.V. Singh from Sharda University, Noida, and the second speaker is Dr. Nitin Labsetewar, who is the chief scientist from NIRI Nagpur. I request my colleague Dr. Kharse sir to introduce N.V. Singh sir.
My fellow chair, Dr. Karade sir, distinguished and eminent speakers, this technical session one, and we are distinguished participants. It's our really pleasure and privilege to be here, to be part of this very prestigious international conference on advanced sustainable futuristic material. And we are blessed with eminent speakers. First speaker will be Dr. Singh sir, and another speaker will be Dr. Labshekar sir. Dr. N.V. Singh is the Emeritus Professor, Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry, SBSR and RDC, Sharda University, Greater Noida. And he has formerly head Chemistry Department of Faculty of Science, DDU, Gorakhpur University, and presently Emeritus Professor, Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. He was an Alexander I Humboldt Fellow and has worked at Aachen University of Plaster University, TU, Dortmund University, Germany. He was postdoctoral fellow at Free University Brussels, Belgium during 1973-74 and is a recipient of NET ZSH ITS Award 2002 and ISCS Gold Medal and Lifetime Achievement Award for Indian Association for Solid Waste Chemistry and Allied Scientists at PRT Vellore. Has several edited proceedings in his name. That is the 9th National Conference of Solid State Chemistry, International Conference on Multifunctional Materials, 6th National Conference on Nanomaterials, and several very prestigious achievements in his credit. I request Dr. Singh sir to start his presentation. Thank you, the chairman of this session. Very good afternoon to all of you. I am privileged to be an invited speaker in this international conference. The title of my talk, I will speak geopolymer cement and eco-friendly construction material. If you look at the history of the world, water is one material which is used maximum. And after water, the maximum used material is cement and concrete. Now, cement and concrete is used maximum for infrastructural development, and in other sense, it is also said that the consumption of cement and concrete is an index
of development of a nation or development of the society. But we have already the cement, which is commonly known as Portland cement, then why there is a need of another type of material like geopolymer steel. Now, here I work in Charla University, as I said in the morning session. It's a private university. It has a very beautiful campus, and we have all type of courses: medical, dental, engineering, management, humanities, agriculture, science, engineering, all sort of courses we teach here, and nearly 1/5 of the total students, they are international students. Now, the question is, cement industry play a vital role in the development of a nation and is the most essential raw material in any kind of construction industry. The production of concrete means ordinary Portland cement, the binding material which you can purchase from the market. If you mix with water, it is said to be a paste. If you further add sand, it is said to be a mortar, and if you further add aggregate, it is said to be a concrete. So the production of concrete is used by some economists as a measure of country's economic strength, even its degree of civilization. Demand for cement in developing countries continually increased due to urbanization and associated infrastructure development. Globally, we produce over 4 billion metric tons of Portland cement per year. The global demand of OPC, that is ordinary Portland cement, is expected to increase to 200% by 2050. China is one country which produces maximum cement, and India is next to China, but the difference between China and India is very big. Now, how Portland cement is manufactured? A simple picture is here. We take the raw material, different constituents are there. We mix in appropriate amount, fire it at around 1500 degrees centigrade. Then we get a mixture of different components known as clinker. And the components are tricalcium silicate, about 30 to 55%, dicalcium silicate, 20%, tricalcium aluminate, 7 to 12%, tetracalcium aluminoxide, 6 to 11%. This composition varies from raw material to raw material, from different industries to different industries. There is a very hard material known as clinker, and this clinker, when interbound with 3 to 5% gypsum, that is calcium sulfate dihydrate, Portland cement is formed. Now, this Portland cement was first patented in 1825 by Joseph Aspedi, and this Portland cement has a lot of drawbacks also. Although it is of much use for the development of the nation, but in today's time, it has a lot of drawbacks also. Huge consumption of energy, about 1500 degrees centigrade, and raw material, and emission of carbon dioxide gas. And today you know that emission of greenhouse gases, particularly carbon dioxide gas, is a very dangerous issue. And people say for sustainable development, zero carbon emissions should be there for any technological industrial product. So what happened? Emission of carbon dioxide gas responsible for greenhouse gas emission, and this is responsible for global warming. And now global warming is a big challenge for the entire society. For Portland, for production of 1 kilogram Portland cement clinker, thermal energy required is 2,930 kilojoule. Calcium carbonate, that's limestone, 1.209 kilogram. Release of carbon dioxide, 0.5320 kilogram. Release of carbon dioxide by the burning of coal, the fuel is about 4.5 kilogram. The above factors determine the sustainability of cement and concrete industry. However, the most important aspect is to minimize emissions because of environmental issues. Now today, up to 2020, the carbon dioxide emission is billion metric tons. That is about 4.0 billion metric ton carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. By a rough estimate, Portland cement concrete is responsible for more than 5 to 7% of the overall carbon dioxide emission, and the production of 1 ton of ordinary Portland cement concrete produces approximately 1 ton of carbon dioxide. Apart from its direct environmental impact, it is also consuming the non-renewable natural resources of earth which are used as raw material in the production of ordinary Portland cement. Despite all of its ill effects, Portland cement concrete is still the most widely used construction material in the world. The extensive uses of OPC and concrete can be noted from the fact that its consumption is only second to the water in the whole world, which is quite alarming. Therefore, it is the need of the day that world must shift its dependency from concrete towards some eco-friendly material in the construction industry. And geopolymer concrete (GPC) provides effective solution to the problem associated with ordinary Portland cement concrete. Therefore, geopolymer concrete can be considered as an alternative option. Now, how this concept of geopolymer cement and concrete was evolved or developed? First, in 1972, geopolymer term was introduced by a French person, and in 1988, first review work was done. Then in 1993, then 1996, 2000, 2008, 2009, 2020, 2022. Lot of work is now being done on geopolymer cement and concrete. The number of products, this number of publications of the review article, patent, meeting, article, etc., they are increasing like anything from 1990 to 2020. Possessing similar or better properties, geopolymer concrete has the ability to reduce carbon dioxide emission. How this carbon dioxide emission is being reduced, I will show you some other slide. It also provides sustainable solutions to the depletion of non-renewable natural resources in the form of raw material for ordinary Portland cement. Instead of using these natural resources, geopolymer concrete or cement makes use of number of industrial and agricultural waste containing aluminosilicate. Geopolymer cement not only provides sustainable solution for the natural resources, but also reduces the pollution burden on the environment by utilizing these waste that could otherwise be dumped at some landfill site, resulting in land and water pollution. This makes geopolymer cement eco-friendly as well as economical. The reaction of a solid aluminosilicate, most of the waste material, particularly fly ash, slag, agricultural waste ash, they all contain aluminosilicate material. So aluminosilicate with a highly concentrated aqueous alkali hydroxide silicate solution. Normally, when this aluminosilicate material, when waste material are treated with a combination of sodium hydroxide and sodium silicate, it is converted to a geopolymer. It is also said to be inorganic polymer. Geopolymer products are amorphous aluminosilicate substances with three-dimensional frame or structure whose building units primarily consist of silica, alumina, tetrahedral. A lot of industrial and agricultural waste material containing aluminosilicate, when activated with concentrated alkalis, mixture of sodium hydroxide and sodium silicate, this geopolymer are formed. Here you see that we can choose any of the waste material, industrial waste, particularly fly ash, slag, silica fuel, red mud, and many other industrial waste which contain aluminosilicate minerals. Then municipal waste. Municipal waste also contain lot of aluminum silicate minerals. Then we have agricultural waste like rice ash, potash ash, and many other materials are there. Then clay and metacolite, natural clay and metacolite. These contain different oxides like aluminium oxide, silica, calcium oxide, magnesium oxide, sodium oxide, potassium oxide, titanium oxide, iron oxide, and many other traces amount of oxides are present. Now this, when mixed with solution of sodium hydroxide and sodium silicate, of course, optimum concentration of sodium hydroxide and sodium silicate are added, and when these are mixed, they are homogenized, mixed at room temperature, and when it is homogenized at room temperature, this geopolymeric cement is formed. This, when mixed with sand and aggregate, geopolymer concrete is formed. So, as I said in the beginning, formation of concrete is nothing but the binding material, water, sand, and aggregate. Now, these are the chemical species, how the geopolymerization or the polymerization takes place when you mix the raw materials, fly ash or slag with sodium hydroxide and sodium silicate. Here you have the aluminum silicate structure, and you have water and sodium hydroxide, alkaline activator. And when you mix it and homogenize it, you get geopolymer monomer, that is aluminum silicate oxide gel. This geopolymer, that is gel, further reacts with sodium hydroxide in presence of sodium silicate, forms a geopolymer backbone, and water is eliminated. Now, one basic difference between Portland cement hydration and geopolymer formation is in cement hydration, water is consumed, whereas in the formation of geopolymer, water is eliminated. Water can be facilitate the process of reaction. Now here you see that the structural feature, how the dissolution, silica and alumina are there, the same thing, the structural form are shown here. The water in geopolymer mixture plays no role in the chemical reaction that takes place. It merely provides the workability to the mixture during handling. This is in contrast to the hydration reactions that occur when Portland cement is mixed with water, which produce the primary hydration product, calcium silicate hydrate and calcium hydroxide. You see that during the hydration of Portland cement, the most important bonding material is calcium silicate hydrate, and calcium hydroxide is also produced. In the beginning, calcium hydroxide was considered to be a waste, but now it is not a waste, for blended cement, one of the most useful materials. Now here you see that depending on the ratio of silica and alumina, the raw material, different type of structural features are there, and these structural features are present in the geopolymer depending on the ratio of silica, alumina 1, 2, 3, or more than 3, then different polymeric units are there. In terms of structural formulation, first when you add sodium hydroxide and silicate, dissolution takes place, then they are aligned, chelation takes place, then restructure, and then polymerization of different tetrahedral units are there. This has confirmed by different methods. Now you see that the normal process is alkali activated, alkali hydroxide, alkali metal silicate. These are mixed with aluminum silicate based materials like fly ash, slag, clay, agricultural ash, and other. Mixing with aggregate and heating, geopolymer concrete is formed. Now, what are the advantages of this geopolymer concrete? Low carbon emission, sustainable construction, longer service life, reduce global warming, reduce use of virgin material, recycle industrial waste, high strength, more durable. Geopolymer concrete, they have much higher compressive strength, tensile strength, which is needed for the durability of a building. Now here, when we add water to Portland cement, heat evolution takes place. Hydration of cement is highly exothermic process, and you can measure with the colorimeter, and the different steps involved during the hydration, you see that 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, we can say in the first, it is in minutes, from second minutes to hour, third stage in hour, fourth in hour, different phases are formed here. No need. Now, if we take the case of geopolymerization, it is also exothermic process, but it is not that much complicated than exothermic as the hydration of Portland cement. So, in the first phase, polymerization takes place, and then in the second phase, further polycondensation, giving you finally the geopolymer cement without. Now, there are a number of factors which affect the preparation property of the geopolymeric material. Main influencing factors, external factors, internal factors, other factors, and the mechanical properties, physical properties, and other properties that change because of these factors. The setting time, compressive strength, and the workability of geopolymer concrete are influenced by the proportions and properties of the constituent material that make the geopolymer paste. Setting time. In cement industry, setting time and compressive strength, they are the most important parameters of the properties of the construction material. So setting time decreases with alkali concentration. If you increase the concentration, that is 8 molar sodium hydroxide, 10 molar sodium hydroxide, 12 molar, then the setting time decreases. Compressive strength depends on type of precursor, whether it is a fly ash, slag, etc., and concentration of alkali, curing temperature, and curing time. Here see that if you increase the concentration of sodium hydroxide, then the setting time, both initial and final setting time, in the case of in the case of cement, both initial and final setting times are important. And you see that when you increase the concentration of sodium hydroxide, the setting time decreases. Compressive strength increases with time, and this has higher value in the presence of sodium hydroxide and lower in the presence of potassium hydroxide. You see that potassium hydroxide is more alkaline, therefore it is expected that potassium hydroxide should give higher compressive strength, but contrary to that, we get higher compressive strength in terms of potassium hydroxide because of it is reported that more silicate and aluminate monomers are formed in the presence of sodium hydroxide, may be due to different size of the ion. Of course, different answer or different solution to this problem is not known. Only we can have a guess that this may be the reason why sodium hydroxide acts in a better way. Here you see that compressive strength increases when you increase the concentration up to 12 molar. Compressive strength also increases with the temperature, but there is an optimum temperature. Normally, Portland cement, when you add water, it gains strength, it takes time. In geopolymer cement and concrete, it immediately increases, but if you heat it up to around 80 or 100 degrees centigrade, it has twice or thrice as high the compressive strength that of the Portland cement. 100 degrees centigrade is the optimum limit. Above that, there is the cracking and other things. Therefore, the 100 degrees is considered, or you can say normally 80 degrees considered the curing temperature, and curing temperature for few hours, maybe 24 hours. The compressive strength also changes with water solid ratio or water geopolymer ratio at different temperature. If you increase the water geopolymer ratio, value decreases. Parameters which change the properties of geopolymer, these are the parameters. That is sodium oxide silica ratio, sodium oxide alumina ratio, sodium oxide calcium oxide ratio, water sodium oxide ratio, and other. These parameters indirectly depend on the water to geopolymer solid ratio, alkaline activator to binder ratio, etc. Again, with the change of alumina sodium oxide ratio, silica sodium oxide ratio, if we increase it, the compressive distance decreases as a function of time. Also, if you have this different temperature, different concentration, the morphology of the geopolymer, if you record with the scanning electron microscope, the morphology also changes depending on the temperature and the raw material and the curing temperature. Nanomaterials can also be added. Nowadays, nanomaterials, as the morning we were discussing, nanomaterials have a great role in construction industry, particularly as I told that Burj Khalifa is one of the tallest buildings in Dubai, 828-meter high. People say that the cleaning of the outer wall is not being done so far because they contain nano or titanium dioxide as the cleaning agent photocatalyst. It is a semiconducting material having photoconductive properties, so in the presence of sunlight containing ultraviolet radiation, the electron from the conduction band jumps to the valence band to conduction band, and the photoconductive activity is there. So a sustainable, eco-friendly and structurally sound geopolymer paste, mortar and concrete composite can be made by incorporating different types of nanoparticles: nanosilica, nanoclay, nanoaluminum, carbon nanotubes, multi-wall carbon nanotubes, nanotitanium, waste glass nanopowder, nanometamarini, colloidal nanosilica, nanocalcium carbonate, nanozinc oxide, nanoclay platelet, nanosilica slurry, and graphene nanoplatelet are the nanoparticles that were used in geopolymer composite mixture with a small percentage, particularly below 5%, and they modify the properties. Here, see that when you add nanoparticles to geopolymer cement or concrete, the transport properties, physical properties, chemical resistance, mechanical properties, they are enhanced, whereas workability, setting time, they are decreased. The action of nanoparticles inside the geopolymer composites are filling the pores and while accelerating the chemical reaction among the ingredients of the geopolymer composite mixture participating in the polymeronic reaction. Polymeronic reaction normally means reaction of amorphous silica with calcium hydroxide. Anywhere where there is a reaction between amorphous silica and calcium hydroxide, that reaction is said to be a polymeronic reaction. And in cemented system, polymeronic reaction is very common and very useful. Now, these geopolymer cement, they have very high compressive distance. They are much better than the normal Portland cement in one respect, but there are certain drawbacks which I will discuss later. One of the most advantageous feature is that fire retardant geopolymer concrete. Here you see that we have made in our laboratory different mixtures. Mixture number 6, granulated blast furnace slag 600 grams, mixed with silica fume 64 grams, sand, sodium hydroxide, sodium silicate, and extra water 5. And when we heat it at 80 degrees centigrade for 24 hours, what we did, we determined the strength of this mortar at different temperature. You see that mixture number 6 that is made from slag cement, granulated blast furnace slag, it has the highest compressive strength, that is 80 or more than 80 megapascal compressive strength, which is very high. And if construction is made by using these type of geopolymer cement and concrete, so if there is a fire and the temperature goes up to even 600 degrees centigrade, there is no harm to the structure, there is no harm to the building, and this type is very common. Now, porous or foamed geopolymer concrete, when in the mixture of the precursor and the alkali, you either add aluminium, silicon, sodium octochloride, hydrogen peroxide, sodium borate, aluminum nitride, then this type of foamed structures are formed because different gases are evolved as a result of reaction. and these gases are entrapped, and because of the entrapping of these gases, the structure becomes porous or it becomes foam structure. There are different types of pores such as capillary pores, gel pores, and air wire. Just one of the picture is given here. Also, on adding different foaming agents and curing at different temperatures, the scanning electron microscopy picture shows that different pores and different size of pores in the porous geopolymer concrete and cement are obtained. Now, durability. Normally, the concrete structures are not durable in acidic atmosphere. So, you see that we take Portland cement, mortar or concrete, and geopolymer cement and concrete, and put it in 2% sulfuric acid and 2% hydrochloric acid for 28 days. Then what we see? Geopolymer specimens show very small change in appearance after 28 days. Here you see that this is the geopolymer before immersing into the acid. Here it is after immersing the acid for 28 days. Practically there is no change. But here it is a Portland cement mortar before immersing into the acid and after immersing into the acid after 20 days. There is a lot of structural change. So immersion in the acid solution and there is only 0.7% mass change. Whereas in the other case, there is a bigger mass change of 3.3 or even more mass change takes place in Portland cement. Here you see that compressive strength decrease with the exposure time, 56% decrease in the case of Portland cement and 22% loss in the case of decrease in the case of geopolymer cement. Now, what happens when you add in acidic atmosphere? What actually chemical reaction occurs? The deterioration of geopolymer material in acidic medium is connected to depolymerization. And because of the depolymerization, there is some structural change, and because of this structural change, the strength decreases. Stability of geopolymer material in aggressive environment also depends on the intrinsic hardening present within the aluminum silicate shell. That is the compressive strength or durability also depends on the organizational behavior. Now, considering these factors, let us see the circular economy of geopolymer cement. The circular economy is oriented to nature as its role model. In today's time, everybody is talking of circular economy, sustainable development, carbon zero emission. All these terminologies are very common for a scientist or an engineer. In essence, the concept of the circular economy aims to keep raw material in a closed loop. In this way, resources are maximally used, the need for new ones is reduced, waste is avoided, and the life cycle of product is increased. In short, the waste of today becomes the raw material of tomorrow. Now, of course, the terminology waste is being used very often, but what I feel, nothing is waste in this world. What we can say, we can simply say material of low cost. Say, for example, I used to give this example to our students that carry bag, we take certain goods from the market, we take out the goods and throw the carry bag. And for us, the carry bag is a waste, but you see that there are small kids which are picking up those carry bags, and for them, that is a resource, that is the earning material. So nothing is waste in this world. The circular economy of geopolymer cement derives from their numerous applications in building and environmental sectors, developing new material from recycled waste, implementation of innovative and cost-efficient, effective recycling process, sustainability of new geopolymer concrete, and other composite materials. Here, there are different approaches to foster circular economy, cost sharing, regeneration, etc. These are number of parameters which are responsible for circular economy. Future prospects of geopolymer cement. Although a lot of work has been done on geopolymer cement, but still there are many aspects which have not been well understood. we need to know different type of impurities present in the precursor. You see that you have fly ash from one industry, you have fly ash from other industry. They may be containing one type of impurity. The fly ash of the other industry might be containing other type of impurity. So they affect a lot in the preparation of geopolymer or in the properties of the geopolymer. Although geopolymer concrete is durable in aggressive atmosphere, but long-term performance is not well known. You see that it is well established that for use of any material, every country has a case with geopolymer material also. There should be some standard and code. So far, we do not have, because we don't have long-term properties of geopolymer cement and concrete. Therefore, we do not have a specific standard and code. But Indian standard, they are now trying to give certain code and standard at the moment, but it is not acceptable by the entire community. Although geopolymer concrete is durable in aggressive atmosphere, but long-term performance is not well known. Further, steel reinforcement may not work effectively in low pH environment. Here I would like to tell to the audience that calcium chloride is one of the cheapest accelerating material for accelerating the hydration of potent cement and its strength development. So it was patented in Germany sometime before 1800 or sometimes around 1800. Now, after the use of reinforced concrete, that is when we started using iron bar for reinforced, the calcium chloride became the prime material. The reason was when we add calcium chloride to the steel, calcium hydroxide is there, calcium chloride is there. Because of the common ion effect, the concentration of calcium hydroxide gets decreased, and the pH of the solution or pH of the phase becomes much lower. And in lower pH range, the corrosion is much higher as compared to the ordinary Portland cement. Because if you add water to Portland cement, the pH may go up to 1400, 14, and somewhere it is reported also, probably it may increase 14 also, 14.1, 14.2. Of course, it is theoretically not possible, but it reaches up to 14. But if you have sodium hydroxide, it will have 10 or 11 or 12 pH, and if you increase the concentration, there may be other type of problem. Since limited data, particularly on durability aspect, is available, there are difficulties in compliance of regulatory standards. It may be dangerous to work with high alkaline solutions. Therefore, process of geopolymerization involving solids is there. You see that in the field, the laborers, they are illiterate, they don't know the science and engineering. So handling of a solution will be a problem, and maybe they find some problem. Now, some experiments have been done by using solid sodium hydroxide, but that is not so successful. Or that some experiments at the laboratory scale have been done, but that is not successful. The precursors are mostly supplementary material. These fly ash, they are said to be supplementary materials which are available in limited amount. Fly ash is available so long coal is there. Rice has been available so long rice is there. Bagasse ash is available so long this sugar cane is there. So their availability is limited. So in limited amount, and therefore geopolymer concrete may not last for a longer period of time. Considering all the above parameters, research has been carried out so that a long-lived and useful green building material can be made commercially available. Now, if we use geopolymer cement and concrete, the construction can be said to be a green construction. At present, many researchers are attracted by the idea of clinker-free binder. When we use geopolymer, we say it is a clinker-free binder. And as soon as we say clinker-free binder, means we are minimizing carbon dioxide, we are minimizing heat, we are minimizing raw material consumption. such as geopolymer, claiming their advantages as low carbon dioxide cement. Despite the hype, it is highly unlikely that such materials will have a major impact on the sustainability of cement material for following reasons. It has the danger of handling high alkaline solutions, as I just mentioned. The performance of these materials is very sensitive to small variation in the starting materials and impurity. The durability and long-term performance of these materials is not well known. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, the materials used in these alkali activated materials are the same supplementary cementitious materials, only available in relatively low amount compared to cement clinker. Now, considering all these information which I have just presented, we can have some conclusion. Geopolymer concrete is an innovative alternative to conventional Portland cement concrete. It is made by utilizing industrial, agricultural byproducts or waste material or naturally occurring material rich in alumina and silica, such as fly ash, slag, or metaphyline, rice husk, along with an alkaline activated solution. The process of geopolymerization involves the chemical reaction between these materials and the activator, forming a three-dimensional inorganic polymer network that binds the aggregates together. Key features and advantages of geopolymer concrete include environmental sustainability. Geopolymer concrete reduces carbon dioxide emission compared to traditional concrete production, since it utilizes industrial byproducts like fly ash or slag, which would otherwise end up in landfill. Strength and durability. Geopolymer concrete typically exhibits excellent compressive strength, often surpassing that of conventional concrete. It also demonstrates better resistance to chemical attack, abrasion, and fire. Reduced curing time. Geopolymer concrete can achieve adequate strength in a shorter period compared to Portland cement concrete. Low shrinkage. Geopolymer concrete tends to have lower shrinkage. One other advantage is, which I did not mention, that in Portland cement, under normal conditions, in the atmosphere, cracks are formed. And in order to heal the crack, there are certain materials which are said to be self-healing materials or nanomaterials, particularly carbon nanotubes, are being added to strengthen that. So, low shrinkage. Geopolymer concrete tends to have lower shrinkage due to curing, which reduces the risk of cracking and enhances long-term durability. Resistance to alkali silica reaction. It also has a large resistance for alkali silica reaction, whereas in the case of Portland concrete is one of the biggest problems. Potential for recycling and this Portland, this geopolymer cement and concrete can be reused as an aggregate and other form. While geopolymer concrete shows great promise, challenges such as standardization, cost effectiveness, and large scale implementation still need to be addressed for widespread adoption in the construction industry. Ongoing research and development efforts aim to optimize mixed design, improve production processes, and enhance the overall performance of geopolymer concrete in various applications. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your such a wonderful presentation and how geopolymer can be useful or substitute for any clinker or any ongoing material as far as construction technology is concerned. As we know, silicon tetrahedron and aluminum octahedron are the basic founder elements in geological formation. And whatever geological formation we are seeing, it is coming from any elements present in chemistry or elemental table. We cannot go beyond that, but it is research activity only, and based on various permutations and combinations, we can form different materials. Thanks a lot for your very knowledge for this presentation. And if questions are there, I request audience for any questions if you have for the speaker.
So thank you, sir, for this. I would be interested to know about the extent of porosity, the maximum extent of porosity that can be introduced into the country, and how small pores we can. What would be the maximum volume of the pores? In one of the slides, I showed that different type of port. When we say different type of port, means different size of ports are formed, depending on what type of that substance like hydrogen peroxide, aluminum, or other materials are added, and in what quantity they are added, and up to what temperature they are being used, depending on different parameters, you can optimize the port size.
We can have question answer in detail during our lunch time also. We thank you very much, sir. We also have one another eminent speaker with Dr. Nitin Lakshetwar, and I request my fellow chair to introduce Dr. Nitin Lakshetwar, sir.
Before sir introduce Dr. Labshetwar sir, I request our chairperson, sir, I request Kadri sir to Kharse sir to felicitate Professor C.
Dear friends, we are starting the second technical session. For this, we are having a very distinguished senior scientist, Dr. Nitin Labshetwar. Nitin Dr. Labshetwar is a PhD with 35 years of research experience in environmental and energy related research. Presently, he is working as a chief scientist and chair, environmental resource planning and management vertical, and also leading the energy resource group at CSR Nirina. He has worked as JSPS fellow and visiting overseas researchers at NIMS, Tsukuba, Japan, and as a visiting professor at Shushu University, Japan, under the Global COE program on novel carbon resource sciences. He has also worked at other national and international laboratories on development of material and processes, including low cost and nanomaterial catalysts for their applications in automobile emission control, GHG emission control, cleaner cooking energy, chemical looping combustion, cleaner energy generation, including photocatalytic hydrogen generation. He has over 215 research publications, over 19,550 citations at an index of 53 and ITEN index of 128 and 20 international patents. So I want that you please give big round of applause for this extraordinary credential. Sir, we are running little short of time. The title of talk is Low Cost Materials for Cleaner Energy and Environmental Applications. And the time given to you is 25 minutes, sir.
Fine, fine. I was politely requesting you to stop my introduction. We are already done. Good afternoon to you all. And at the outset, let me put it on record that there will be plenty of sites which will be exclusively for the students. Definitely not those who are sitting in the front row. They are honorable and experienced people. That is just to give you a glimpse of what we are doing. So I'm going to run through fast because, in fact, this is the lunch time. So every minute you are going to curse me that lunch is far better than that. So we'll cover a few applications very quickly, and if you have interest, you can contact us or those my colleagues. This is all about me. Okay, so I request you to go to the website and pursue whatever of your interest. This is the energy resource management group. We work on emission control. A colleague of mine works on fuel cell. We are also working on a drone and AI/ML and sensor-based environmental monitoring to very basic like cook stove, okay, because we need to look into what is the environmental impact of that. This I was mentioning you in the morning that these are the top risks, and if you look at the 10 risk, 10 years risk, almost 6 are green. Those are related to the environment ecology. So these are the important areas as never before, and processing has very brilliantly explained how we utilize the materials. Okay. Now I'll a little bit introduction about the energy. So there are two important impacts of energy. One is the climate change, okay, and second is the limited availability of fossil fuel. And that's the reason everybody wants to work on solar, hydrogen, wind, and so on and so forth. These are the greenhouse gas emissions by sector, as Mr. Singh has described you. So you can see that the energy contributes about 73%. Energy is not like the electricity. We often get confused. Energy means required for other sectoral use, like the industry use a lot of energy, so 24%, transportation energy, energy for the building use, and what we are going to use extensively is the air conditioning. So this is a different contribution. And if you want to target how to resolve the energy related emissions, how to be independent, how to be sustainable, then we need to address all these things. Very quick, because I don't have time, that morning I mentioned the life cycle assessment. It is cradle to grave. For example, if I ask you what is the CO2 footprint of solar panel, so now everybody has become knowledgeable. Otherwise, they say zero. There can't be zero footprint of anything because we need to think about how the solar panel was produced. There was a lot of energy consumption, everything. If I ask you what is the CO2 footprint of one cylinder of LPG, which is 14 kg, you all know that LPG is propane. So if you know propane plus O2 is equal to CO2, you can easily calculate 14 kg of propane. Propane will give you this much of kg of CO2 as a footprint of your kitchen. But is that the realistic footprint? No. We have to consider how did you extract the crude oil? It requires energy. How did you transport the crude oil from Saudi Arabia to Sumatra refinery? Again, energy. And again, footprint. There's a complex refinery process. It uses energy. Then again, transportation of LPG from Sumatra refinery to Nagpur is coming in a train wagon. Again, energy. Okay. From there, it is coming by a truck to a dealer. From there, a mini truck is bringing to my flat steam, and then I'm using elevator. This is not enough. A transportation of food requires ship. How do you build ship? It has got its own life. So the cradle to grave, the entire thing which we call an embedded emissions or embedded footprint, all put together, it gives a very huge footprint. Another quick example is a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee is how much? 200 ml. If you guess what is the water footprint of a cup of coffee, 200 ml. Or okay, we need some water to wash the utensils and all that. If you have got the concept of LCA, you will add maybe 5 liter or it. A cup of water footprint of a cup of coffee is roughly 70 to 100 liter. How did you grow coffee? It requires water. How did you grow rice? So these are the concepts which are coming fast. So if you have that kind of a LCA-based assessment, this is how the different energy ranks. The coal. We are forgetting one very important thing. It's all about like CO2 and the GHG and the climate change. How about the air pollution? How about the fly ash pollution? How about the water pollution? Everything is important. So we need to rank based on the toxicity and based on the climate change. Now, many experts have sensitized you that we have committed, our Honorable Prime Minister has committed for net zero by 2070. How are we going to do that? The coal to be dropped by 90%, crude oil 90%, solar, forget about 500 gigawatt I mentioned before, 5,000 gigawatt, nuclear 225. So these are the things which we need to pursue. And for that, what we need is basically a disruptive technology. If I look at the solar map of the country, the maximum potential is 800 gigawatt, 1,000 gigawatt. What we are talking is 5,000 gigawatt. The only option is to improve the efficiency of solar cell. How do you do that? By developing new materials. These are the other things that we need to address. I'll be a little quick, but fortunately, I'm going to sensitize you because nowadays, whenever my young colleagues come with a proposal, they will come up with the renewable energy and the hydrogen and the solar and the climate change. Nobody wants to work on say water pollution. If you ask why, sir, maybe grant nahi milega. These are not the hot topics, but we can never forget. These are the equally important areas: the water. This is 2 days back, Delhi, Gazipur landfill site, fire accident. You can see this is everywhere. So these are the problem, and to address the problem, we need materials which are one of the key. We need to accept it not because we are, and I am speaking on a material context. No, for sure, material is one of the most important. So I compliment why it is important. So here we go. I'll introduce at least 3 topics in the next 15, 18 minutes given to me. One, this is something to do with the automobile air pollution. Automobile is one of the important sources of air pollution, and these kind of a complex technologies are already there if you have a Bharat 6 vehicle. Okay, I call it a kind of a ventilator. Okay, just start from the DOC, which is diesel oxidation catalyst, then diesel particulate filter, then SCR is selective catalytic reduction of ammonia, and then there is an ammonia step, so you have to take care of that. So fairly complex system. So how to deal with this? Because most of these catalysts are noble metals, platinum, palladium, gold. We have got a limited noble metals, and nowadays my friend from mostly this side, they started using platinum and rhodium in the jewelry also. There's even further shortage for the catalyst. So there are 2 approaches. One, how to lower the amount of noble metals. There are very beautiful of that. And second, can we work without noble metal? So NIRI has been working quite long for non-noble metal-based catalysts for automobile and other applications. So perovskites are mixed metal oxides, and you don't have to use the noble metal. You can tailor them, and there are many advancements. This is from Professor Terawaka, who was one of the best. Unfortunately, we lost him about 5 years back. These are the different reactions for which you can tailor the composition of perovskite based or mixed oxide based catalyst. You can design. But there are limitations with platinum. Platinum, you can prepare different particles, you can induce some kind of functionality. But with perovskite, you can do a lot better. Giving you a glimpse of how the diesel emission works. So this is how the diesel particulate forms in an engine. This is how it looks like SEM. There are 2 problems with this diesel particle or smoke. One is the particle size, which is very fine. It can penetrate your lung and even it can penetrate your blood vessels. Second is the toxicity. It's quite toxic and carcinogen, means cancer causing. These are the filters which are used to filter these particles, which are there in the Euro 6 vehicle. These filters are available, and they can filter up to 95%. Now, where is this problem? After some time, this filter will get clogged with your carbon particle. How to clean it? It's quite sticky. They burn at about 550 degrees Celsius while the exhaust temperature is very low. Now, what a catalyst can do? A catalyst can possibly reduce this temperature to the exhaust temperature, say 300 degrees Celsius. And it becomes automatic oxidation of this soot by use of catalyst. So now this is the criteria of a catalyst design which I was trying to sensitize you in the morning, that low cost, chemical stability, thermal stability, because the exhaust temperature moves like 200, 700, again 300 and 500. Availability of the raw material, so on and so forth. This is one of the compositions we tried, strontium ferrite, by using simple techniques, because the technique should be industrially scaled up. Only then there is one. There are a lot of characterization we have done. Unfortunately, with the time, I cannot go into the detail. But yes, temperature program, oxidation, and reduction are 2 important techniques we frequently use. And then we try to in the activity of this catalyst. So here I can explain you that if you take a soot, it burns about 550. If you mix with this catalyst, it's about 450. If you mix with this catalyst, it's 400 degrees Celsius or below 400 degrees Celsius. You are basically trying to reduce the oxidation temperature or burning temperature of soot so that it doesn't remain in the filter. Then we developed another catalyst, copper molybdenum based catalyst. So we filed patent because this was a potential thing. This is the typical temperature program reduction. It tells you about the activity of that catalyst. Then we have a three set of evaluations we do. The first set we do at NERI, wherein this kind of a facility is there. We can prepare an exhaust mixture, pass it through the catalyst bed and check it. These are some of the results where we got a very good activity around 350 degrees Celsius. We can oxidize the soot. And these are the mechanistic aspects because this gathering is a mixed gathering of chemists and everybody, so I'm not going to go into the detail. The next is we tested at a bench scale facility. I often use a Futuristic facility wherein you can prepare a small piece about 100 cc and then there is a diesel engine here, small generator. Exhaust is passed through this and you can check the catalyst activity. For the students, this I have put intentionally because my student complained that we don't have a space. I'm sure most of the seniors will agree their students also complain. By the way, this is a very typical Japanese lab. It's very difficult to even walk through it. And with this, they have frequent earthquake and whatnot. So space is a constraint everywhere. So we should really, for the students, again, we should think what we have. Okay, there won't be anybody who will help you in welding and glass blowing and all these things. Okay, here we are privileged. There you need to do everything. Then we prepared a full-scale prototype. Okay, and this is how it looks like. This can be put on a vehicle, and then there is a rigorous testing for this. So we used two facilities, one at Indian Institute of Petroleum, and the second is at IIT Kanpur at Avinash Agrawal's lab. And this kind of a result we get. There's a long way to go from lab to the bench to the full scale and to the industrial production. Now we are into the durability testing of this catalyst. Another project we are dealing with the Ministry of Environment and Forest. Therein we are trying to address the problem of old vehicles. India has got a close to 30 crore vehicle. Euro 6 is very clean, but what about the old vehicle? There are 25 crore. So can we fit these devices to those old vehicles? And all these devices are from the industry, okay, top industries, and there we're trying to find out whether it's feasible or not. So this is about the catalyst development for auto exhaust emission control. Next, very few glimpses because tomorrow you are going to have another lecture on this, carbon capture, utilization and sequestration. So the first challenge is to capture the CO2. Why do you need to capture the CO2? Because a power plant burns coal, it produces CO2, but we use air. And air contains 78% of nitrogen. So the oxygen, CO2 concentration is typically 12-13%. We can't use that CO2. So your first challenge is to pre-concentrate this from 12% to say 90% or 95%. And then you can think of using this. There is a competitive process called chemical looping combustion, wherein you don't use like air. For example, if I ask you if I'm using pure oxygen with coal, I'll produce only pure CO2. But can we produce pure oxygen? We didn't have enough oxygen for the patients during COVID. Forget about the power plant. So there is a process where you can use metal oxide. And they provide oxygen instead of taking the air. So you use the iron oxide, methane is going, methane is reacting with the iron oxide, it is burning, it is giving you CO2 plus water, water can be condensed, you got a pure CO2. And when metal oxide is reduced, we can reoxidize air. And we all know that metal to metal oxide is highly exothermic process. People are even trying the small particles of metal like aluminum particles as a fuel. Just put some air, burn it, it will generate enough heat. So these are another set of work where probably NERI along with one Swedish lab have reported for the first time these kind of a mixed oxide for chemical looping combustion. This is at the lab scale. We have done all theoretical calculations. One of the interesting thing I would like to share with you that you can use this process even for hydrogen generation. So what basically you are doing, you are taking iron oxide with methane, methane will burn, the iron oxide will get reduced to iron, you can reoxidize it with air, and the whole process is agriculture. If you are not using air, you just put steam, and possibly not with the iron oxide, you are able to split the water. So this is also at a large scale or bank scale people are trying. We want to explore this process also, chemical looping water splitting. So this is the second one. I'm extremely sorry for running very, very fast. The third and the last topic I will cover is the water for materials for water pollution, because this can be done in any simple chemistry lab. So there are a lot of issues. Dr. Kharse is one of the experts. We work together to resolve many, many problems. Nanomaterials are very common, and what I wanted to sensitize you in the morning, that the advantage is the surface area, low cost, new properties, which is the key. If you ask me that what is the best thing about the nanomaterial, is not the particle size, it's not the surface area, which can be done anyway. It's the new properties. And that's what the beauty of the nanomaterial. If you keep on reducing the size, there will be a size where it will change its property. The gold will change color, or any catalyst will change. But there are very important environmental challenges. First is during production, you may inhale nanoparticles. How to separate? If you have to use it for the water treatment, how to separate it? You should have a magnetic nanoparticle so that with the magnet you can separate. If you are passing it through filter, please remember it will require a lot of energy, lot of back pressure. It's like using a RO. Can you imagine few million liter of water can be flown through RO? No. So there are different challenges, but it is possible that these nanomaterials can be put into structured supports or substrate, what we call it. You might have not heard about this pollutant, selenium. I mentioned you about the Punjab, and this comes from many fertilizers and some natural sources also. It's very toxic. Unfortunately, it exists in a very low concentration. Now, how to first of all analyze and how to detect and how to separate is a challenge. So, in one of the Indo-European projects, we have worked on separation of selenium using some low-cost material. And at the same time, you may be aware that in India, bacterial contamination is omnipresent. Okay, most of the water sources are not protected. So what we tried, we should solve the selenium problem, but at the same time, we should also solve the bacterial problem. So we worked on a lot of nano adsorbent along with a couple of our research scholars. These are some of the competitions, especially starting with the lepidophyte. These are iron-based materials, nanomaterials which can be synthesized with the lepidophyte very easily, very simple techniques. Publish and you can refer. Even you must be wondering that, okay, Dr. Nitin is lucky that he must be synthesizing and next day all the facilities are there to verify it. No, we also depend a lot on other institutions and collaboration. We collaborate and then in detail we do these kind of, like the laboratories experiment, the columns based experience. But yes, we are lucky that we have got engineers who can guide us. That what kind of things are required when you are going for the final applications. So we also cross-check the antibacterial activity, and this material, which was removing selenium, was able to also treat the water for bacterial contamination. That's what we wanted. And now we are going ahead with some column experiments, and then if everything is fine, we will work on the techno-economic feasibility of this, and we might as well go for on-field experiments using some bigger problem. I'm considering that many of the students, I'm so sorry that my presentation was more student-centric. I was working on what are the prospects of chemical sciences and engineering, or to be precise, what are the prospects other than AIM and IIT and computer sciences. So in environmental engineering, the catalyst and the adsorbents are two major categories of material frequently used and we need to use. So there are two main approaches. One is a preventive, like green synthesis, circular economy, or processing is very beautifully explained, wherein all like fundamental chemistry knowledge comes, because we are trying to modify the process to reduce the footprint. And second approach is the control option, where needing mostly work, end of the pipe treatment we call it. Therein we use a lot of adsorbent material for say CO2 separation, for water contamination, and for many other things, and the catalyst. Nowadays, there are many other activities going on at dairy to produce the green hydrogen for hydrogen storage, and to name a few. In fact, these are few things which are today important and which will be very important in the future. So, I mean, rest assured that chemistry will be required and the material science will be definitely required, because we are already saturated with everything. We need to go by the preventive approach, wherein we need very sound knowledge of all these chemistry and chemical domain. These are the use of chemistry and chemical engineering and energy. You name it, and chemical engineering and material science is there. Right from biorefinery concept to nuclear to hydrogen, you name it. Everything involves material development, chemistry, and chemical engineering. This is all about the hydrogen energy. There are different kinds of color given to that. I'm sure you are aware that if you are using solar energy to produce hydrogen through water splitting, it's called green. If you are using some other sources, which is generating CO2, but you are able to capture the CO2, that is something called gray. Why these are important? That rest assured, unless there is a very disruptive innovation, rest assured, we need to use practically anything. It will be a blend of what I have shown you during my first few slides. There'll be contributions from wind, there'll be contribution from hydrogen, there'll be contribution from bioenergy, there'll be contribution, small contribution from nuclear, you name it, and it will be there. Even the hydroelectric. So we will need everything possible, right from energy generation to energy storage. I was also mentioning in the morning, and the government is working quite seriously, that what are the 30 critical minerals which we need. And if we are not able to produce these minerals, we need to work on the alternate. What is required for the solar panel? What is required for the fuel cell? We need lithium. If we don't have lithium, we will need some substitute of the lithium. That will be a really very important research. If somebody is using, like I have shown you, like platinum, we don't have platinum. So if I can develop a catalyst without using a platinum or minimizing amount of platinum, which India doesn't have, then it will be a great research. And every country, every developed countries, they have their priorities with this. The only thing sometimes I wonder that this should percolate down to the researcher at every level, but that is there. So I'm coming to my final slide. Yes, I'm going to finish in 25 minutes. So there are environmental challenges which are getting severe. Unfortunately, there are new and emerging pollutants. I mean, air pollution, you'll find many types of furans, everything there. Water, selenium is there. Personal care products, pharmaceutical products, antibiotics, these are the new and emerging pollutants. While energy demand will increase, we must reduce the footprint in energy use as well. Like I can see in my institute, they use so much of cooling. I always ask them no more than like 25, no less than 25 degrees Celsius. The catalysts and adsorbents are most important material for environmental application. Of course, there are every kind of a material which should be used for, say, hydrogen and energy related research. Much innovation is possible. This is a good news, because when the challenges come, when new disease come, the pharmaceuticals industry work, the doctors work to find a cure. Unfortunately, these challenges are coming, so there is a prospect for researchers to work on these problems of energy and environment. There is a renewed interest in non-noble metal-based catalyst materials, and there are plenty of environmental materials. You know, like Professor Sinara often says, and other top researchers, they always say, there are few kind of a research where you need a high-tech facilities for sure. But there are a lot of research which can be done in a simple chemistry lab, and use the facilities which are available with the DST centers and CSI lab. Many of you may be aware that the CSI has got a portal where all the instrumental facilities of 37 labs are available on a click of mouse, and you can book any of the facilities from there. Of course, there is always a pressure from like the lab. Like needing facilities are also there, so we can utilize this using a basic facilities and do that. But yeah, as I mentioned that in addition to conventional criteria, in case of the catalyst, we used to worry about activity, selectivity, stability, and the cost. But now you need more things, whether that particular element or metal is available, what is availability after 10 years, because industry will be interested only with the sustainable availability. So for doing basic science, you need not to worry about these things. And without basic science, the applied science, or what I call it, a solution science, doesn't come like that. So, with much better understanding of structure property relationship and mechanistics aspects in every domain, it is possible to design the material of a particular application. All credit to them and a lot of collaborators. I don't have a list of them. We collaborated with a large number of Indian labs and, of course, some of the foreign labs also. This is with not any negative intent for what is commonly known as a jugaad. This is a beautiful quote for scientists that for every complex question, there is a simple answer. Every one of us has a habit. I have a habit. किसी ने कुछ problem बताया तो हम at least दो solution तो दे देते हैं. But we have to accept that for every complex question, there is a simple answer, and it is invariably wrong unless the answer is based on proper science fundamentals, okay, and some execution of experiments. So with this, I will stop, and again, apologies for being very fast. I'm available there, and so anyone wants any further things, we will discuss. I don't think we have time for question also. We can discuss during the lunch time, and please enjoy the conference and keep in touch if you are interested in anything. Thank you very much for this opportunity to the conference organizers. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for such a wonderful talk. We are fortunate and blessed to have such eminent speakers. Both the speakers are nationally as well as internationally well known, and they have done the justice for the topic assigned to them. And wherein they have touched upon various issues, whether it is environmental sustainability, carbon footprint, life cycle assessment, carbon assessment, or circular economy, or carbon economy. And whatever knowledge, expertise, and experience they have shown, it will definitely aid to all of us in your future endeavor, particularly from the young researchers. And I hand over this mic to my fellow chair for some words.
We have listened to a very great presentation of Professor Bhaskar. We all are motivated to undertake such kind of the research. I hope that there are many young fellows present here. So we all are motivated, sir, and we are really upgrading our knowledge for the demand of such low cost material for research. We can take one or two questions. If there is any question, please come forward.
Thank you, sir. So nice data.
Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you.
kind of you.
I have two deep questions. The first is where the selenium comes from. The second is about diesel engine particulate filter. Is there any way to improve the filter itself? The question. And other question is, can we utilize this that we have collected in the filter for other purposes, for other purification purposes?
Right.
Thank you, sir.
So, sources of selenium are both geogenic. There are few rocks and minerals which contain selenium. Of course, anthropogenic activities blame for that also, because sometimes the soil and other differents are getting quite acidic, and that leads to leaching of selenium in the aquifer. Other than that, selenium is used in pesticides, and I would say irresponsible use of these materials and the way we are dumping it, also leading to the selenium in the groundwater, especially, and the surface water also sometimes. You asked about the diesel particulate filter. Yes, what I have shown you is kind of a process through which they call it as a continuously regenerative filters. Because the filter will trap first the particle, but if you need to burn this particle, you need temperature, like 600 degrees Celsius. If you provide that temperature through heating, it will have its own CO2 footprint and energy footprint. So what is done is a layer of catalyst is coated on DPF, diesel particulate filter, to reduce the temperature from 600 degrees Celsius to 300 degrees. Another commercially viable technology which is commonly used is they put a diesel oxidation catalyst before the filter. And this catalyst oxidizes the NO available in the exhaust, the NO2. And NO2 fortunately has got a very good reactive with this food. Third question, the last question you asked, very important, that can we do something with this food? Yes, there are companies, I know at least one company, IIT Delhi, startup Chakra. So they are trying to collect this food, okay, and they try to make the black ink. But collection is not that simple. So they are probably experimenting with the diesel genset rather than the vehicle, which has got a little bit of complexity. But yes, it does contain small particles. The only thing is you can take care of the toxicity associated with those hydrocarbons which are exhaust. So we should be able to do it.
So any other question? So if there is no any question on organizing, on behalf of organizing team, we are thankful to Dr. Nitin Davshikar for such a wonderful lecture.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Now I request our chairperson, Dr. Professor Kalde sir, to felicitate Dr.
I think along with the introduction, that part has also been done. Please don't worry. I have already seen the network.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Principal Dr. Badwai sir to felicitate our chairperson, Professor Kalde. There is a little change. Now I request Principal Badwai sir to felicitate another chairperson, Dr. Kharse. Thank you, sir. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here we end up with our technical session 1.